This program is stupid. If I would get a subscriber for every time I hear this, I think I would have at least few thousand subscribers because it's not the program. It's exactly as the title says. And in this video, I'm gonna be showing you that the software doesn't matter, it's how you utilize it. And it's not that difficult to utilize it either. We just have few options for drawing or constructing that are quite universal. And if you want to go into graphic design, maybe you should watch it to compare the programs because hey, we have some better alternatives nowadays. And before we start, I want to explain that this video is based off of vector graphic. What is vector graphic? Is Bezier curve, which is basically like math, but don't worry though, you don't have to do the mathin because you draw and the program is mathin, not like in a CAD software where you have to do the math and the computer does the drawing, which is just too crazy for me. But well, I ain't a math head. Also in this video, we're gonna go through exactly 3 different programs. One that's industry standard and everyone knows it. The other one that is quite outdated and was industry standard at some point. And then the third option, newest kid on the block, also the cheapest. Plus, to show you the versatility of these tools, I'm gonna be doing some of them on a computer and some of them on iPad for those of you who don't know what's a computer. So yeah, let's move into first screen recording of the day. So let's start with the most popular software, or rather I should say, the most dominant one, Adobe Illustrator. So at first, left high corner here, you can add a new file. Once you click this, in here you can find different sizes for different purposes and designing, but that's not the idea of the video, me explaining everything. So let's just jump right in and create a new file. In here, you will see the keys I'm pressing. So this will be Control key on the Windows. This is Alt key on Windows, and this is Shift key. So for those of you that work on the other software, those will be the buttons. I'm probably gonna be telling the Windows ones. If you're on Mac, then you can look at this fucking thing. And these 3, Shift, Alt, and Control, are so-called
modifier keys.
Why they're called like that? Because they allow you to do lots of
modifications.
And no matter what you try to do, one of these is probably the answer. And if we look at the tools that are on the left side, we have pretty much the same setup everywhere. So we have our black mouse, we have our white mouse, and we have our shapes and pen tool. Let's start with the pen tool itself, because this thing works everywhere in the same goddamn way. So once you learn it here or any other software, then you automatically know how to use it anywhere else. So let's grab this bitch. And since it's a pen tool, most programs actually will have it shortcut as P, like a pen. And that's another thing about the shortcuts. If you don't want to remember the shortcuts, just remember what you want to do. It's probably the first letter of each word, of each action. All right? So let's add P in here. And I'm just gonna explain to you how this shit works with PDA. And if you're drawing anything based off of any image, then it's better to lock this so it doesn't move around accidentally. Okay, let's start with the pen tool. So first click should be just fast click and bam, it's attached, right? Then if you will be clicking it, just fast click, 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 you can see we're creating straight edges like that. But PDA is kind of round, isn't it? So what we will do, quick click, then move your mouse to any other point and then click and hold to the click and then stretch it a little bit like this. Okay, let's switch the outline color so I see what the fuck's happening. So here, just basically the same thing a few times. So again, click and hold and drag it. But what if we want to go back? As you can see, we have this crazy curve and we can't really do that. We need smaller curve. So one of the function keys probably does this. So let's check out Control. Oh, look at that. I can make this line slightly less bendy. And even if I didn't finish my drawing, while holding Control, I can click on any point and I can change any of these points at whatever time I like. So I can fix it up and then stop holding control. And as you can see, I can just continue with my drawing. Let's go a little bit like this. Then obviously we just have a straight line. So we're just gonna go down like this. And then again, click and drag and hold. Okay, maybe a bit further. Drag and hold. Again, control. And I can make this little circular thing a bit shorter. This determines my curvature. So if it's gonna be really short, their curvature is gonna be short as well. And then let's go like this. And then let's just go down. You can hold the mouse wheel, like click it like a button, and then you can drag your image around. That works again the same way in other illustrating software. All right, so let's smooth it out here as well. And the other method, if we don't need the curvature, we don't have to drag this bitch all the time, because as you can see, it drags the other side with it as well. But if we hold Alt key, now we see, now I can control just one side of my curvature. Told you, those buttons will do anything that you'd like to do. And even if we hold Alt key and then left click on the last point we drew, bam, the line resets, but just for the new drawing. So I can continue with a straighter line, like so. Bam, let's do it again. Alt key, holding it, left click, bam, done. And now I can drag it and create a new curvature. Okay, so let me just go around. I can just go straight to that point, or I can't. So let's just do something like this, and then to the end, and bam, we have a pita head already. And while ordering something, or even creating any type of illustration like this, try to draw as little points as it's possible. And here, let's just explain quickly the differences in between the black mouse and the white one. So with black mouse, I can easily move parts, copy them. If I hold Alt key and drag it, I will instantly create a copy, right? If I want to go back, Control Z as anywhere else, I guess, bam, we're going back. So here I can change the proportions of my drawing, but if I would like to change the shape itself, then I will grab the direct selection tool, which is the white mouse. And in here, you can see I can manipulate any given point to fix the drawing or just manipulate the shape overall. But we don't need that. We gotta continue with pita. All right. So for now, let's just try to copy his face elements, I guess. So what we can do is to grab a pen tool and do not start on existing drawing, because otherwise you might end up deleting the points off of it, and we don't want to do that. So what we're gonna do is just to create shape by shape like so. And if you're done with the drawing, just press enter. It will stop. Let's make a little ear here. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna bend it slightly more. All right, now the haircut. And the haircut, let's start it like way outside. Try that first. Maybe let's do like ear shape more or less, and then again Alt, left click to straighten the line, and then I'm just gonna follow his hairline, alternating and clicking and doing shit. And again, I'm just gonna go like this outside. I just need a curvature more or less like this, and then I'm just gonna all over the place. And now I would color. Eyedropper, bam. That don't look like his hair yet. No, it's not the proper shape. But don't worry about it. We're just gonna Control X, cut this bitch out. Then click on the big pita outline. And here on the left side, you can see we have different styles of drawing. Normal drawing, drawing behind the object, or drawing inside it. So let's go ahead and draw inside, and then I'm just gonna Control V, paste it, and then just move it where it should be. That's how easy it is. Also, I can grab the white mouse and, just fix few things here and there. It's like cosmetics, though it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't know why the fuck I'm even trying. Okay, more or less it's done. Let's continue with the other parts of his face. All right, so I'm just gonna go for the glass frame like this. And now I'm gonna recreate his eye. But for the eye, I'm just gonna use the ellipse tool. And if we will hold shift, it will be perfectly bam. So you never guess what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw inside the circle itself as well. So pen tool, and let me just go like this. So we have an eyelid, and then we don't give a fuck. We can go all around, take the color, bam. We have the color, add the outline, because here cartoon, those have these. And if I double click, I'm in isolation. So this particular part is isolated. As you can see here, it's called clip group. And I'm just gonna add little eye. And if I hold Alt and Shift at the same time, I will make it proportional, but it will change its size from and to the center. Okay? Click on the wheel. Wheel should be white inside, and then just double click to exit this special isolation thing. So now I have one Peter eye. So what I will do now is just continue with the drawings. So let me create another glass piece. Should be empty inside. Okay, enter, stop drawing. And now let me just create a nose, because right now I can still see the nose itself. And I won't in a second, because I'm lazy and I'm just gonna copy the other eye. And this one, I'm gonna fill it with color as well right away. And of course, let's just add the outline to indicate this. Okay, so now once I have this nose, I can just copy the other eye. Again, black mouse, Alt key, and then just dragging it and setting it in place. And it's underneath already. Yeah, of course, there are a bunch of different methods for doing this. This is just one of them. And I encourage you to, find your favorite technique. Because once you get your own technique, it's gonna just be so fast and pleasant. You're gonna be quite surprised. And then again, Alt key, bam, bam. And also, it's probably not the most efficient way to do that as well. But, well, I don't care. Efficiency is not the point now. So if I go back to layers and switch off my picture of Pita, you can see that there is a Pita, has a bit different colors, but we're gonna get to that. But first, if I move it, you can see it will just all fall apart. And so it doesn't, I can just hold Shift key and click piece by piece, choosing every single thing. And then I can cut it, Control X, and then I'm just gonna double click on my head, draw inside, bam, pasting it, and then just placing it proper, like so, maybe lid fixing for the glasses. And now let's just fill the rest, bam, like this. And here we go. Hello, Peter. Now Peter has a twin. Yay! So the petal is just one of the methods. And also, since we put everything inside, you can see it won't fall apart. Now it's in vector graphics, so technically you can make it as big as like half of Germany. So enjoy your infinite scale Peter, I guess. But the other method of drawing is combining the shapes together. And for that, let's do a little cloud. So I'm gonna switch to ellipse tool and then create few ellipsi, or whatever is the proper verb for it. So we got few shapes like that. Okay, so now we can select everything and look at the left side of the screen. We have a tool called Shape Builder. That's also a thing that's quite universal amongst the other software. So here, if I just choose this with a left click and dragging it
in between shapes that will combine all of these shapes into one. Yay, we have a cloud. Look at that. And with Alt, as you can see, we can easily cut shapes apart, create holes and whatnot. So if you see logo that has a like perfectly circular shape in it, it's probably done with the circle, you know? Bam, we got a new service, Pita Cloud. But we have one more method that is quite universal, and that is different types of duplicating and copying objects. So we can create patterns, you can create drawings by just copying shit, basically. But let's go with the rectangular tool, and I'm just gonna hold Shift to create perfect square. All right, once I've got this, I'm gonna grab the white mouse, and then you can see those circles at corners, right? If we just drag a circle, all of the edges will smooth out. So you can create basically a circle out of a square if you'd like to. But if you click on one of these and you can see it inverted its colors, now that means I'm just gonna drag one of these, all right? But if I click on one and it switches colors and then hold Shift key and then click on the other one, then I will choose just these two corners. So if I drag one of these, just two of them gonna go like that. Okay, we have a petal, and let's say we want to copy it a bunch to create a flower. Of course, you could be inefficient and then just hold Alt key, move it, then rotate and try to do it like that. So what we can do is to go to Rotate tool, and this will help us choose the center. And if you don't understand how it works, just grab a piece of paper, put your finger in one spot and try to rotate it. You will see the page will rotate around basically where you have your finger on the piece of paper. But I'm just gonna move it slightly off center like so. And now I can just hold Alt key and bam, I have another path. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So that means if I keep holding it, I can just copy them a bunch. But there's also something called duplication, which basically allows you to duplicate what you just did. So let's say I copied, rotated it. So now what I have to do is just press Ctrl D, like duplicate, and just do that again and again and again, and just do that bunch of times until I get a flower, like so. See how simple that is? Ctrl D, or duplicating, also works in different dimensions. Let's say I want to create a pattern out of my flower now. So with the black mouse, I can select everything, Alt key, and just drag it like this next to it. And if I press Ctrl D, it will just keep duplicating the flowers in a direction I moved it in. So if I'll drag it with Alt key again, this time down, and then keep pressing Ctrl D to duplicate, it will duplicate like so. And with this, it's really easy to multiply because again, I can grab 4 of these, Alt, drag it, and then Ctrl D to multiply it. All right. We can also move stuff with arrows. So just like one arrow is 1 pixel at the time. But if we hold Shift and an arrow, this will move our object 10 pixels in a given direction. You can combine that also with Alt. So if I press Alt and arrow, I'll create bunch of copies. I can add Shift to this, so Alt, Shift, and arrow, and then I will copy the shit every 10 pixels. So 3 main ways of illustrating: pen tool and drawing inside. Then we have combining / cutting out of shapes with shapes. And then we have multiplying or duplicating or copying. And this, I guarantee you, if you're gonna pick up any graphic designing course or you're gonna pick up any other software, then exactly all the same rules will apply, even in much, much worse software than Adobe's. And I know Adobe ain't that great because more and more people are leaving them. And for good fucking reasons, those greedy bastards. But the point is, you can do the same shit even in the worst software like
Corel, the worst of them all. Because recently I've heard from 60-something-year-old that Corel is outdated. Like, they remember times before visual interfaces and they say that Corel is outdated. Like, come on. Okay, so here, similarly to every goddamn software on the left side, you can press plus the new document and choose from a bunch of formats. Again, we will be able to change that on the fly if we want. So let's open this bitch up. Let's go over the same shtick here. Wait a second. I already have restart because the shortcuts don't work for some fucking reason. Alright, let's go again. Never mind. Okay, so here, if we look at the left side, it looks a little bit different, but these are the same tools. So this one will be our main tool for picking. Then we also have the second tool, which is usually the white mouse, for editing the curves. Then we also have a pen. Yay! Which works exactly the same. Let me load Peter first. This time he ain't that happy because he in Corel. Can't even blame him though. So first thing first, we're gonna lock the image. Bam, image locked. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the pen tool. Bam. Same shtick again. So remember, if you're taking your first move, just left click to leave a point in a certain space. Then another left click if you want to have straight line. And then left click, holding it and dragging the mouse in order to create a curve. So here essentially the same thing. If I don't want the curve to be curved, I can just press Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and then just click on the last point I drew. That will reset everything. And then I'm just gonna proceed with the curve. Here, if I want to edit the curve on the fly, again, I just hold Control or Command on the Mac, and then I can just drag, fix the point as much as I want to, right? And then if I stop holding, then I can click on the last point I drew, and then just continue like nothing. So again, Alt for straight line, bam, bam. Let's make a hairline. Bam. And I'm gonna go all over here because as little points as it's possible, less complicated of a drawing, better performing program and a machine. So yeah, bam, option, bam, and dragging. Oh, bam, dragging, bam, dragging. And now I can just go for the straight line. All right, there are some little things to be fixed, but again, I can grab the second tool that I have available here and then just move this like so to adjust everything properly. And you're never gonna guess what we're gonna do next. We're gonna grab pen tool and we're gonna draw everything just like that. Same shtick. If you don't want to draw anymore, just press enter key and it will stop drawing it. All right, and here we can essentially do the same thing with the drawing inside, but it's called a little bit different. So we're just gonna right click on some elements and then go to power clip inside, click on the head, bam. Wait, why not? What the fuck is your problem? Okay, I colored it, power clip inside. Okay, now it fucking works. Stupid idiot. So now we're inside. So what can I do inside? I can do inside the same fucking thing I did before. Only difference in between like Corel and Illustrator that actually pisses me off a little bit is that some of the function keys are opposite way. So for example, if I want to have proportional perfect circle in any other software, I would hold Shift key. But in Corel, for some goddamn reason, is Control for this. Shift key is drawing from the center, which is usually, normally, a control key or command, which is fucked up. What are you, British or something? You have to drive on the wrong side of the road? I don't really get that shit. But here, since we have more or less straight eyelid, I'm just gonna go and draw a rectangular. Another tiny difference is that you can't really rotate right away. You have to click it second time. So it allows you to rotate, and then another time so you can move it around. But it's just like the tiniest fucking difference, so shut up. But with this circle, obviously, I'm gonna power clip inside the eye, like so. Then go to edit the inside of the eye to create an eye. Finish this, we're gonna make thicker around. And again, the same tools are on top. And with this, I'm just gonna Command D to duplicate to have a second eye, like so. Then pen tool, bam, bam. And we're gonna make the nose. Just a little bit of fixing. And then we're gonna color it inside. Oh wait, I forgot about a few more details. Glasses, bam. The haircut. So again, since I'm drawing inside now, I can just go outside the lines. Bam, bam. Because I don't give a fuck. Bam. Adjust the thickness of the outline so it would be matching. Alright. Then I can just go ahead and make an ear on the head. Then I'm gonna go finish and just add a little bit of outline. And bam! Not so happy Peter, but at one piece. Again, scalable, basically for infinite. There is some misshapes here and there, but I can fix them at any point, as you can see. No problemo. Second tool works as a motherfucker. And yeah, look how clean this is. Okay, now let's move on to the flower stage. So here, look at that. We can draw a square again, but instead of shift, we just have to hold control key. Bam, we have it. And here, despite not having circles, we still can bend the edges. Just like that. Just grab the square and drag it. That's all. And if we want to just drag some of them, just click on it. It will turn black. In the meantime, the rest of them will turn white. And if one is black, the rest is white, it means you can just curve this one specific corner. So I'm going to click on it, and then if we hold shift and click on the other one, then we select both of these. So if I'll drag, only these 2 points will drag along the lines. Maybe first let's rotate this mofo sideways. So the size window will rotate with it, then flip it like that. And okay, let's say more or less we have a petal made out of square. All right. And here, if we click the second time for rotation, you can notice we have this little tiny point in the center. If you move the center, see, it will rotate around it. We can also just rotate it once. Just gonna duplicate. And here, instead of holding Alt key, you can just hold right button. But if you just click right button or start holding it over it, you will have this dialog window. So this is a little bit tricky, but first thing you have to do is left click, start rotating it. And once you start rotating it, just press the right mouse button. And that will ensure you will copy it. And once you do this, you'll never guess what you're gonna do. Control D or Command D to duplicate exactly same shtick as in Illustrator. Okay, I put the circle a little bit off center, that's why it looks a bit wonky, but that's not the point. The point is that we can multiply these as easily as in Illustrator. So first, again, if we just right click and start moving it, it will just be copying. If we want to go back, classic Command Z or Control Z. But once we copy it with the right click like this, then if we do Control D, it will duplicate it in the exactly same manner. So if you move it in a certain way, it will start duplicating a certain way. If you start rotating and duplicating, it will start rotating and duplicating. And if I'm gonna select a bunch of these, and with the right click just drag them, I'm gonna have twice as much. And if I press duplicate, I'm gonna have even more, but I don't want this many shapes. It's just for showcasing how easy it is to multiply shit. And also let's make a little fast cloud since we have flower. So as clouds do, we're gonna start with the rectangular and then holding control, we're gonna create perfect little circles. And with right click, I'm just gonna duplicate them a bunch and then just gonna cloudify them, I guess. Bam. Shift key allows me from the center, and that's what I'm holding. Shift key now. And okay. And once I have these, we don't really have shape generator tool, but we have these tools up top right here. So we can either combine them into a single object. If I click this, bam, I have my cloud, but I lose my shapes. This is the same way Illustrator does it. One neat thing that CorelDraw have is that it can create basically an outline from the selected objects. So if I hit this, I'm gonna get a new shape like so. Bam, we have a nice cloud, but I still have my circles over here. So I can now create bunch of different clouds based off of the same shapes. Just I can play with proportions and whatnot, but that don't mean the program is not outdated. It is. We can also cut the stuff, can remove So I can do this and bam, this one has a hole now. Let's do it again, but different type. So this one will just create the union in between these like that. So as in other software, you have a tool and you can draw which shapes should be connected or cut out. Here, you just basically have to select the objects you're interested in and then like eyeball it, like remember which one does what. If you don't remember, you can just hover your mouse over it and it will say what it does. But I think it's like way less intuitive than in other softwares when you can just draw the shapes yourself. But there you go, 3 different methods for drawing that are basic methods that we can do anywhere. So again, we have pen tool and drawing inside, copying / multiplying, and good old connecting / cutting basic shapes. And despite being a little bit different, and maybe if you worked in other software a bit gimmicky, this is literally the same fucking thing, dude. And after that, we're gonna move to the Affinity Designer. This shit's so good, I'm not surprised people ditching Adobe for them. But again, on the left side, we will have creating a new document. Here, again, we can choose from a bunch of different files. We can also set the color profile right away, document units, and whichever you want to work with. So you set everything before you start. We have margins, we have bleeds, and all of that crap. And this program on a PC is basically the same, but you have shortcuts. Of course, on the iPad, you also can have shortcuts if you just connect any Bluetooth keyboard. But first of all, this program has a bunch of shortcuts built in. As you can see, we have Shift key, we have Control key or Command key, Option key, which is Alt on Windows, and Control key, which is I don't fucking know what is it on Windows. But we have few shortcuts right away without needing any keyboard, and we can even toggle them on and off so it holds Shift for you, let's say. But let's do the same shtick. So let's welcome Peter. Peter is excited because he doesn't know what's a computer. Once we place it, of course, we're gonna go ahead and lock the layer so it doesn't jiggle around while we try to draw on top of it. And on the left side, bam! What do we see? Black mouse, white mouse, and the pen tool. Oh my god, all shit we need. So let's go with the pen tool. Same shtick, we just first dot is just like quick click basically. Second one is dragging it. Third one is the same, just dragging it. And here I can press Control and then bam, the line is straight again. And if I hold Command, I can edit while holding it. Once I stop holding it, I can just continue the drawing like nothing. Then we're going like this, bam, bam, or maybe even like this, bam. Here, we're gonna sharpen the edge, do this, again, sharpen, wait, do this. Okay, I'm gonna hold Control just to adjust these points. Okay, now I think I can just continue all over here and just close it like that. And if I fuck up, white mouse comes in to rescue, helps me out with the curves. Bam! Maybe let's make the outline a bit thicker so our Peter doesn't disappear. And once we have a head, you never guess what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to those 3 little dots up top and check this out. Insertion targets. We can draw behind, we can draw on top, or we can draw inside. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and start drawing inside. Then I'm just gonna grab a pen tool, and here, as usual, I'm just gonna go around creating the hairline. And right now, I'm actually working with Apple Pencil. And if you don't have an iPad, you can buy Affinity on a computer. It's gonna be the same as we did on Illustrator, basically, with the shortcuts and all of that crap. But if you don't own a computer, this is a good, quite cheap software considering you buying it forever. So one-time payment and you're good. You own the software, which is, well, as you probably know, not that common nowadays. So yeah, now we're just gonna go for a circle and let's click the Shift key so the circle be circling. Okay. And now I'm gonna draw inside this circle as well. Bam, bam. And if you double click enough on stuff, you can edit it on the fly. So here I'm just gonna go with the Option key, which allows me to flawlessly copy shit. Okay, We're drawing inside the head again. Bam, pen tool, just casually drawing the nose. And also I'm doing it on a different device, so you know that those things is possible on anything. You just have to have proper software and know what you're doing. Okay, our PETA is coming up, so let's go for this one. Now PETA happy because we actually doing it in a cool software. And it's the cheapest from all of these options because Corel costs thousands yearly. Way outdated. Adobe, meh. Adobe got too fucking greedy. People leave them. Again, monthly payments. And if you don't want to continue working with them, they will charge you cancellation fee. Stupid motherfuckers. This though, Affinity, is the software you can get both on PC and Mac and also on the iPad, as you can see now. And you'll never guess what? It's one-time payment and you're done. You're good forever. So I don't know. That's insanely good deal if you ask me. One thing Affinity can do, which both Illustrator and Corel can, is turning pixel-based images into vector graphics. So you have to opt to some web-based solutions, or you can also find on other programs. But, well, if you're just illustrating, to be honest, you don't need that at all. And yeah, we should be good. Almost, besides the color. Bam. Hello, Peter. So see, that ain't that complicated. You can do that anywhere. Even if you don't own a computer. Let me turn off the PETA. Now, again, I have a vector graphic PETA. So that means he can be scaled infinitely, basically. Okay, the other method is drawing based off of duplicating. Since we don't have a keyboard, it will be a little bit more gimmicky, but as mentioned, if you connect any Bluetooth keyboard to your iPad, you can use shortcuts like Command D to duplicate and whatnot. But since we don't have a keyboard now, you're gonna see how it's done without any of these shortcuts. So here for cornering, unfortunately, if you turn into the white mouse, you can't really corner stuff. But for that, we have a special different tool, and it's called corner tool. Same shtick. So if we just like on one point, we can drag one point. But if we hold shift key or press arrow here, then we can actually drag two of these at the same time. Bam, we have our leaf. So now, if we want to copy something, we can click Option key or down key on this virtual shortcut thingy and then just drag them along, or even multiple objects, and now I can duplicate fairly easy. But what about rotating and duplicating? So this one, since we don't really have keyboard and can't just rotate, in here, if we click on the right side for the transform options, we can turn off the anchor. That's automatically adjusted. And if we switch this off, look at that. We have a little center piece. So as you know, this is the so-called anchor. So it will now be rotating exactly around this anchor. But we can't really duplicate and rotate. It doesn't want to work like this. Even if we switch it off, it still just rotates. But don't worry though, we can go here and then we can duplicate. Once we duplicate, then we can rotate. Then we can duplicate and duplicate and duplicate. See, if I had a keyboard, I would just be pressing Command D to duplicate, not like this. But hey, it's essentially the same thing. Or maybe there is a faster way, I don't know. I spend too much time on a computer. This program is kind of new to me, but I dig it, dude. Because look at this, we have a nice pretty pink flower. And just group it so I don't have too much of it. Alright, now we have a flower. So yeah, same shtick with the flower. Just click down, boom, copied. Click on two, drag them, copied. And now I can go duplicate and it will do the same thing over and over again. Of course, it's faster with Command D or Control D rather than just copying manually. But since you can lock it basically for copying, it's also really fast. And if you want to go back, just tap two fingers at once. But I think that's like the universal iPad thing. Most apps do this. So yeah, there we go. We also have third method, which is combining the shapes. So I'm just gonna switch off the inside color. Now I'm just gonna go for a few ellipsi, right? Selecting all of them. And here we have Shape Builder tool. So with the Shape Builder, I can just drag like in Illustrator from shape to shape, adding them together, but it won't add them automatically. I just have to hit the plus button, and after I click the plus button, then all of them are combined. And remember, for this method, it will only combine elements that are selected. So if something is not selected, like let's say cloud here, and it's on the flower is not locked, but it's not selected. So I can't really do anything with the flower itself. What I can do here, I can press on parts, add them together, or I can deselect, and that will cut the image. So now both of these are just cut through. So let's grab some blue. When it is cut through, bam, there you have it. 3 main methods for illustrating and drawing in graphic design. As you see in all of these programs, I have a bunch of different tools that I could use. But to be honest, what you usually do is just opt to 1 or 2 methods that you already know. And since those methods are universal, once you learn one program, you automatically know the other ones. Sometimes you might be wondering and looking for actions or for specific tools because they might be named differently in different programs. But if you know what you're looking for, it's fairly easy to find it, to edit it, to add to your image and all of that crap. Now I hope you see my point. That is not the program that's stupid. You have something to add to my video? Type that down in the comments. What's your favorite method of creating illustrations? Maybe you have your custom one that's faster, better, and more reliable than the techniques I was using. Maybe you're using the same techniques. Share that knowledge in the comments. I like when you guys are arguing about some shit in the comments. If you enjoy and agree, like the video, subscribe for more content like this. Cause yeah, I'm gonna be dropping tutorials and shit all the fucking time. Plus, obviously the art history shit, exposing and explaining the most known people on the planet within the visual arts field. And for those of you that still don't get you can do the same shit in different software, well, I guess go fucking watch the video again, you fucking idiot. For the rest that understood, go and test these things. And yeah, if you want to be graphically designing, but you didn't learn anything yet, then I tell you, you can do most of the stuff on this, so you don't need to get yourself into these. There's no fucking need.